In a live look outside, let's get a check of our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Paul Heggen.
Devin, we're in our virtual studio here, bringing you the weather in a whole new way. We'll talk more about that momentarily, but let's actually talk about today's weather for the first day of September. Live look towards the Golden Gate Bridge from Treasure Island. Those ominous clouds hanging out, but there's nothing ominous, even though they did produce a little bit of shower activity today. The cloud cover, combined with that onshore breeze, really helped to keep temperatures on the cool side. And now this evening, temperatures are dropping down quickly. These are our current readings across the Bay Area, so let's kind of walk through the entire region. Down into the mid-60s for most of the Santa Clara Valley. Only 65 degrees right now in Morgan Hill. You're down into the mid-60s in Livermore already. Definitely windows open weather across the Bay Area this evening, especially with the better air quality that we get to enjoy. Even Antioch has dropped below 70 degrees. Remember last year at this time we were topping out around 115 degrees for Labor Day weekend? This is a whole lot better, even though it is unusual. Just barely above 60 right now in San Francisco. Temperatures in the North Bay also dropping off quickly, down mostly into the 60s. This is pretty typical for this time of year if this was the late night hours, but the sun hasn't been down very long. We're going to continue to see cooling as we head through the rest of tonight, kind of leveling off in the upper 50s and low 60s. The moisture that we had across the Bay Area today wasn't a whole lot, a few hundredths of an inch of total rainfall, but there was quite a bit more in other parts of California. The satellite and radar perspective shows all that activity, some of it bubbling up in the usual spots in the High Sierra, but a lot more for far northern California. Rain around the Smith River complex, that's very welcome to help fire crews maybe get a handle on those fires burning there. What they don't need are more cloud to ground lightning strikes. Hopefully any fires that got started with those strikes today were quenched by the rain that fell out of those thunderstorms. We're going to see a similar pattern repeating itself tomorrow and again on Sunday, with a chance for a couple of hit or miss showers around the Bay Area. A lot of cloud cover, peaks of sunshine. It's not going to be completely gray, except along the coast in most locations. We are going to be tracking some drizzle, mainly along the coast and some of the higher elevations of the coastal ranges, and maybe a little more shower activity trying to make its way in on Sunday. We'll be watching that throughout the day. The onshore breeze kicked in and really brought in some better air quality. Good air quality today, good air quality again tomorrow. Maybe a little smoke drifting down towards us by early next week, but I think moderate air quality is the worst that we are going to be into. So let's talk about where our temperatures are going to go from here, and we'll kind of zoom around the Bay Area region by region. And we will start with the North Bay. Those high temperatures on Saturday, way below normal, only reaching up into the mid to upper 70s. It might be a couple degrees warmer than today, but you're supposed to be into the 80s in early September, and you really won't be all that close. Where you might see normal temperatures, closer to the water, mid-60s in Half Moon Bay. Temperatures in San Francisco and Oakland just around 70 degrees, with mid-70s down the peninsula. That's unusual for early September, as are these temperatures in the Santa Clara Valley, mostly in the middle portion of the 70s. Morgan Hill may be sneaking up closer to 80 degrees. And even the usual hot spots inland in the East Bay, the Tri-Valley and the Delta, about mid to upper 70s again on Saturday. We'll keep this weather pattern around as long as we can. Now, what's more likely to happen is that we are going to warm up as we head through Labor Day weekend. Similar temperatures again on Sunday. It's our new version of the 7-day forecast, so we can represent the weather in these glass tubes. It's going to be really cool during the rainy season when the raindrops kind of collect on the outside of those virtual tubes. You see the temperatures for now warming back up as we head through the middle of next week. It is going to be a warming trend around the Bay. It's just not going to be as steep. For Oakland and the East Bay and down the peninsula, those temperatures mostly getting back up into the 70s. Down the peninsula, maybe a few readings back into the 80s. Of course, along the coast, you're used to seeing a little bit less volatility, and that's what we will deliver on as we head through next week, with temperatures staying in the 60s. A lot of gray skies overhead for the next couple of days. I think you have a better chance of seeing a little bit of sunshine peeking through the clouds once we get into about Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. We'll be here to keep you updated as we head through the next several days. This is, again, the new version of the forecast, and we're going to be doing this here on Pix Plus, and eventually we'll kind of bring some of this into the mix on KPIX as well. Devin?